everybody. Just a wonderful Rod Stewart and Jeff Beck take on Curtis Mayfield's People Get Ready. I researched this. Actually, Curtis Mayfield played with what they call black key tuning, meaning all the black keys on the piano. So he tuned to an F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, F sharp, A sharp, and F sharp from low to high. So I found that really interesting, and I'm really going to check out the original and see what the difference is. I haven't put any time into it because I really want to put the time into this version. So we're in standard tuning. I'm not using a Strat with a whammy. You can do that. You can, Jeff Beck's inflections are wonderful. But for this lesson, I'm going to be focusing on the notes that he plays. You can use your whammy bar, and I'll talk about a little bit how he does that. But again, this will be just standard tuning. My notes will be below, linked, so you can click on that and download them to have them. For my tone with the clean guitar, if you will, the non-leads, I've got a chorus pedal just set up for a nice sweeping chorus. I've got a spring reverb. It's called True Spring. I really like this pedal. And I've selected tank reverb, which gives it just a nice reverb for this. And the big pedal I think you will need is a compression pedal. It'll really help compress the notes as you pluck them, because most of these are plucked as we play the intro. You can strum it, that's fine. But again, the compression, if you're plucking, at least for me, it really helped bring out some of the low notes where I was weaker and suppress some of the higher notes where I hit the notes too hard. So that's my take on my notes for it. The intro is going to reference a D. All right, we're going to pluck the fourth string, the D string. All right, and we're going to pluck the second and first string. Then we're going to pluck the first and second with a D sus4. So we'll put our fingers down on the third fret of the first string. And then back off. So you can let that fourth D string ring. Alright? And really only play the first string. Then we're going to go to an F sharp over D. So if you haven't played that before, what I do is I bring my first finger up to the F sharp 6th string and move my middle finger up to the 3rd string. Those are the 3 strings we'll pluck. And then we go to an A over D, or F sharp. Alright, so we'll be just moving that 3rd fret of the 2nd string to the 2nd fret. Alright, so far this. Then what we want to do is move to a G6 shape. Okay, but we're only going to use the 2nd string, 3rd fret, 4th string, 4th fret, and the 4th string, 5th fret. So 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And we want to pluck the 4th and 3rd string, then the 2nd. So it gives it, we're going into the melody here. Then back to the 4th fret on the 3rd string. So we have this. And then what we want to do is move up. It's basically an A shape. I'm just using the 2nd string at the 5th fret. I'm putting my middle finger on the 6th fret of the 3rd string, but I'm not really plucking all 3. I'm really focusing on the 4th and 2nd. It's there in case I hit it. And then I put both fingers down to referencing a D, and really, like I said, picking the 4th and 2nd, but we'll usually catch that 3rd. So we have this. Alright, a lot of notes there. Again, my notes I think will really help you. Alright, so the whole thing slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to repeat it. The only difference is it will change when we get to the G. We're going to actually pluck all 3 strings twice. And then come to a D with that 7th fret of the 3rd and 2nd string. You can go to this D, that's fine if you're more comfortable. I think it just adds a little something changing position. So, let's go through the whole intro slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, then the lead guitar comes in. Now, underneath the lead guitar, we're going to actually move into the verse and the chording that he does during that. So during the verses, basically we're substituting the F sharp over D and A with a B minor 7th. Alright, it's referenced here, the B minor 7th with our F sharp over it. Alright, we're just going to be adding the B note. I really I thought maybe they were going here, but later in the song when they changed keys, it really made more sense for the B minor 7th. Alright, so during the lead guitar and the verses, we'll have this. We'll just pluck the D, and then pluck a B minor 7th, and then the rest is just like the intro. Alright, back to D and B minor 7th. So you can see that pattern. Alright, they'll do that 2 times through while the lead is going on, and then we're into verse 1. So you'll find a lot of similarities in this intro lead to the actual lead and so forth. There's really some melody themes that he does, and again with Jeff Beck, it's all, he doesn't use a pick, so I'm using my thumb to kind of get that little inflection that he does. Now if you have a Strat, I notice he wraps his hand around the Strat bar and uses his thumb to pick, so he has the rest of his hand to add the inflection. So again, it's one of those things, how do you show this kind of inflection? It's really difficult. So I'm going to show you the notes. You can play with it. I really have fun not even bothering with it because this solo is so memorable. Alright, so what we're going to start out with, we're going to be in the 7th position, and we're going to hit the 3rd string at the 9th fret with a slight bend, then the 8th fret of the 2nd string, back to 9 and bend, and 7. Alright, then we're going to do a 7 on the 4th string, hammered into 9, hitting 7 on the 3rd, back to 9 on the 4th. A lot of numbers there, but it'll sound like this. Then he hits a 9, lets that ring for a bit before hitting the 7. You're anticipating this slow bend that he does later in the song, but instead of bending up, he hits the 7th fret. Alright, and that 7 to 9 hammer on the 4th string, it's very, very fast. Alright, so all together to that point, 1, 2, 3, 4. repeat that first intro, but we'll hit 7 again, and then we're going to come in with 7 on the 4th string, hammered into 9, and then quickly go to 9, bending it up and hitting 10 on the 2nd string unbent. It's a real country thing, but he doesn't let it ring out real long. And then it's a 9 bent, and then 7. All right, so the second half to this point, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this part is really cool. He's going to hit 7 and then specifically hit 9, and 9 slid up to 11. Catching 10 on the 2nd string back to 11, and then hitting 10 again on the 2nd string bent with the old vibrato. All right, then we're going to come back to our theme here at the 4th string with our hammer on from 7 to 9, to 7 on the 3rd string back to 9. And then we're going to hit 9 with a slow bend on the 3rd string. Then he does this really cool lick. Pre-bend on the 10th fret of the 2nd string, strike it, release it, and then hit 7. Then we'll do the same thing on the 3rd string, except it will be 9 pre-bent, released, and then hitting 7. Then our theme again. And then he's going to hit 7 twice, and it's a very quick 9. It's almost like I'm using my thumb and up hitting the 9, because we're going to go 7, slide to 9, back to 7 on that 3rd string. It's not that, it's a little bit quicker. So that's the intro lead, just beautifully played, a lot of feeling there. If you use a pick, it sounds fine. Just, put the, like when I met Stevie Ray Vaughan, he told me, when I told him I played guitar, he said, Joe, always play it with feeling. And there you go. I mean, what more can I? So the verse pretty much, I'll just say pretty much, always that little caveat, isn't there? Pretty much follows that intro lead guitar rhythm. The only difference is the 2nd measure. There's a slight walk down and a couple different chords. So that verse 1, which we are playing a D and substituting the B minor 7, and then then we go through again. Alright, this 3rd time, when we get through the first time through the 2nd measure, what we're going to do is quickly move to a C sharp on the 5th string, and use the 2nd string, this E note, on the 5th fret. Pluck those 2 notes. And then move to our B minor 7, then to an E minor, and then we continue with the F twice to D. Alright, so the 2nd half measure slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. It kind of plays with your mind a little bit, but when you're playing with the song, it really makes a lot of sense. It's just kind of a walk down to the turnaround. All right, so that's verse 1, and then we have what I'm calling bridge 1, which basically is the first measure of the verse as far as rhythm, but Jeff does a lead over it. So we're going to go over the lead next. So the lead during bridge 1 is just really a shorter version of what he does later. He's going to slide into 15 on the second string. Basically, we're going to outline a D and then add the A note to it. All right, so what we're going to do is slide into 15, catch 14 on the third string, back to 15 on the second, and then land on the first string at 17. Repeat that. Then he slides off of that, and then we're into verse 2. So now we're into the solo rhythm. The solo rhythm is 3 measures long. We're going to go through one verse, so we'll have one walk down. Then we go through another measure that's just playing through the chords. Then we're into verse 3. Verse 3, the only difference is it's twice as long as verse 1 and 2. So we go through 4 measures, each with one walk down. Okay, and then we're into bridge 3. So like I said, verse 3, twice as long as the other verses. Bridge 3 takes us to a key change. The key change just takes us up a half step. So we're going from D, all right, to D sharp. All right, so the lick will sound like this. All right, so we're doing just like we did in the first bridge, the lick up to 18 twice. Then we move everything, so we're going to slide into 16 now and hit 15. And then we'll go to 18. The second time through, we come back to 15 on the second string with a slight bend, because we're bending it up to 16. And some vibrato. So, all together, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the rhythm for bridge 3 will start out with a half measure of our normal. Then we're going to move everything up. We're going to go to a D sharp. So just pluck the third, don't pluck the fourth string anymore. Third, second, and first string. And then move to a C sharp minor 7th. I'm sorry, C minor 7, no sharp. Then we go to G sharp. Then our A sharp. And then to D sharp. And again, you're going to be plucking the first 3 strings. You really want to pluck those bottom 3 strings and leave that 4th string out of this equation, because again, we've changed keys now. We've gone up a half step. We're sharp from where we were. All right. That rhythm will continue, and he'll do the same walk down, but of course now, rather than being on the C sharp, we'll be on the D at the 5th fret and the 2nd string at the 6th fret. Then to our C minor 7th, and then to an F minor. And then we go to G sharp to D sharp. Either way, okay, so that's really the change in key there. The outro continues that with the walk down. So the key change and the outro again will follow this. Okay, so you got how the key change goes, and like I said, that continues for the outro of the song. I think it's 6 measures. Let me look at my notes. 4 measures. Yeah, 4 measures through that. So twice through, and there's a solo over it. So we got solo 1 to go over, and then the outro solo, and you'll have the whole thing. Okay, solo 1. The thing I love about this song, it's very approachable. Again, it's not very difficult. It's just in the phrasing and playing it with feeling. So it's gonna, the first measure will sound like this. Alright, so it starts on the 2nd string at the 7th fret with a bend and release. Then we come to the 9th fret of the 3rd string with a bend and release and pull off to 7. Some vibrato there. Then we're going to do our typical lick, 7 to 9 on the 4th string hammered on, catching 7 on the 3rd, back to 9 on the 4th, and then coming to 9 on the 3rd with a slow bend. Again, repeat that lick from the 4 and the 7. Then just lay your finger down, catch 9 on the 3rd string to 7 on the 2nd string, back to 7 on the 3rd with vibrato. Alright, now we're going to do 7 to 9 on the 4th string, catch 9, bend that up, and we'll hit 10 on the 1st string. Real steel guitar bend here. Alright, so we have this. And again, it's cut short. It's not... It's a... And then we'll hit 9, bent and release to 7. So that last lick. Alright, then we do this. So what we're going to do is hit 8 and 7 twice, and then slide, once we hit the 2nd 7 to 5. Then we hit 7 on that 2nd string, pulled off to 5 and 5 again. So we have this. Then we give 7 on the 3rd string with some vibrato. We're going to do our typical lick, 7 to 9 on the 4th string, 7 3rd, back to 9 on the 4th, and then 9 on the 3rd with the slow bend. Then we take 9, slide that up to 11 on the 3rd string, catch 10 with a slight bend, and a release, and then hit 7. So there's a little technique there. You got to get back to that 7th because we're going to come to the 3rd string with a bend and release from 9 and then hitting 7. And then ending 9, 7 hammered on the 4th string to 7 twice, and the 3rd time with a bend and release in vibrato. All right. So let's do that second measure together. It's a fun one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to change positions. So the last measure of the solo is really our bridge lick. Now remember, we haven't changed keys yet. We're still in the normal key. But what we're going to do is come up to 15 and 14 and then hit 17. All right, we'll do that twice. All right, we'll do it one more time. The third time will sound like this. So we're coming back from 15 on the second string to 14 and bending that up to 15 with vibrato. Alright, so that last lick of the solo, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're done with the solo. Like I said, it's very approachable, very fun. This is just, honest to God, it's a really fun song to play. We'll go into the outro solo, which again, we've changed keys, so we'll be playing it one step up with all our notes. So the outro solo, again, with a different key here. We're going to be starting on the 8th position rather than 7. It'll sound like this. So for this, again, we're in the key change, so we'll be at the 8th fret. All right, we're going to come in sliding on the 4th string to 8, hitting the 3rd and 2nd string at 8, back to the 3rd string at 8 with 10 bent vibrato, and then we'll release it hitting 8. Then we're going to grab 10 back to 8 and then 10 with a slow bend. That's all on the 3rd string. Alright, so that first half measure. Then what we're going to do is slide into 11 on the 2nd string, hit 8, and then move to the 3rd string, 10 to 8. We'll do that twice. Alright, and then we come up to, we're going to hold that last one. We're going to come to the 4th string, hammer on to 10, catch 8 on the 3rd, and then 10 bent while we catch the 2nd string at 11. But it's a quick one. Then we're doing a bend and release and pull off to 8. Alright, so from the 8 to 10 on the 4th string, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so the whole lick together slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I found this lick to be really cool. I've seen some teachers play it with a actually tap on one of the strings, but I don't think he does that. I think he actually plays the note, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. So we're going to slide into the 11th position from the 2nd string. So what we're doing is sliding into 11 second, catching the 1st string at 11, back to 11 on the 2nd, 11 on the 1st. Then we catch the 13th fret of the 1st string bent. Alright, then we're going to repeat the 11s. when we bend 13, we'll hit 14 with our pinky. Then we'll hit 13 again, release the bend, and to 11. Ah, that sounded like shit. From there, we're going to slide into 18 and catch 16. That's on the first string. Catch 16 and then 15. Then we move to the second string, 18 to 16. So we have this. And then at that point, what we do is hit 15, hammered on to 16, pulled off back to 15. And then 16 ends that measure. So we have this. All right, we're going to stay at this position. What we're going to do is hit 15, 16, 18, and then hit 18 again to 20, and then 22. When we hit 22, we give that a bend up. All right, for the second half of that third measure of the outro solo, we're back to the 8th position. It'll sound like this. All right, so he's going to start out on the second string, 8 bent and release. Then we'll come to the third string at the 10th fret with a bend, and then release and hitting 8. Then he slides into 8, hammering into 10, catching 8 on the third string, back to 10 on the fourth, and then the 10th fret with a bend. Then we go to 8 again, just like we started with a bend and release on the second string, and then the 10th fret of the third string, bend and release, and then pull off to 8. Then we come back 8 to 10 on the fourth string, to 10, bend up, catching 11, and then 10 with the release of the bend to 8. All right, so that's the third measure of that solo. Then we're moving back up to 11. So we're going to slide in again, second string to 11, first string 11, back to second string 11, and then we'll hit them both. Then we hit 13 on the second string, and then 11 to 13 hammered on. It's a little vibrato and then slid out. So we have this. Then we come back to 13 with a bend, vibrato, and then release, and hit 11, back to 13 twice. And then we're going to hit 11, bent, release, and pulled off to 8. That'll lead us to the second string at 11 3 times. The third time will be pulled off to 8. Then we land on the third string, 10, 8 to 10, bent and release. Okay, the next measure solo is very short because we're into, you'll see, like the bridge lick. All right, so it will sound like this. We're sliding on the fourth string from 8 to 10, then we're catching 8 on the third string, back to 10, coming back to 8 on the third, and then we catch 10 with a bend and release, and then hit 8. Alright, And then we're into, basically, it's the ending bridge lick, okay? Because we started at 14, we'll be at 15. So it repeats 2 times through, and that's the song. So basically, we'll be at 16 back to 15, and then hitting 18 on the first. Again. One more time. Then we go back to the second string at 15. The whole thing repeats. So that's the whole song. Like I said, it's a very approachable, very fun song to play. I really, really enjoyed learning this song, so I hope that helps everybody. And yeah, we're close. Happy New Year. My best. Enjoy.